Hi, real estate enthusiasts. So I'm going to talk about what is the best markets to invest in real estate today. I know this is a very popular question, and you're going to get a lot of popular answers like Texas, North Carolina, Arizona, Florida, Ohio. There's kind of like the standard market answers that I think is great. It helps kind of hone in a little bit, but I really want to kind of emphasize your real estate in that market, because there are a lot of deals that don't do well in all of those markets that I just listed. And so I feel that this question actually is getting answered incorrectly. So I'm going to provide you guys my answer of which market in real estate is the best today. So my first one is focus on the market growth. Okay, so some of you may know what this means. If you don't, this basically just means, is your population growing or declining? One of the easiest ways to find this out is actually U-Haul. Many people, when they're moving, they get a U-Haul, and then they go and they drop it off at their destination. And so U-Haul does a ton of different reports. They provide it to the public, and so you can see where everyone is moving from and the most popular places where people are moving to. So this is a great way to see this. You can also go to citydata.com, and it shows you the population of different cities, and it'll show you if it's increasing or declining. So those are two great sources, U-Haul and City Data. I'll try to put those in below for you guys. So make sure that your market is growing, the population. 2, market income and kind of economy. This one sometimes is a little bit harder to look into, but you want to make sure that you are investing in a market that actually has a stabilized economy, and that the population there can actually afford whatever you're bringing to the table. And so there's tons of different asset classes. So just make sure that your service is priced within that area, and that the economy, the local economy, can actually sustain and hold that asset class so that they have it there. So the market income also you can find on citydata.com. Imagine there's other ways to look it up. That's just a great resource for a lot of information, but you want to make sure that you find out the income of the area, that it can sustain whatever asset class that you have or are putting in there. 3, you need to figure out as an investor what your goals are. This is what I think a lot of investors struggle with, is they follow other investors that have been doing it for a really long time, who have their portfolio, they have their structure, they have the things that they emphasize. And for newer or smaller investors, they don't necessarily align themselves with what their long-term or even short-term goals are. So as an investor, are you focused on the appreciation of your assets or the cash flow of your assets? Both? One, the other? Like, what exactly are you emphasizing when you're looking at real estate deals? This will make a big difference depending on which market you choose and which market is actually good. Once you figure out what type of investor portfolio that you actually want. Because some people love cash flow. Like, this is what they want. They want to be in the markets that they're going to get extremely high cash flow. When you get this, you don't always get high appreciation. Well, some investors, they need their portfolio to align because of maybe other income that they have. They want high appreciation, and they can have low to no cash flow. So this is a really important question to ask yourself, because this actually does decide which asset class is best for you, which market is good for you, or which deals to look at. So this is a great question to make sure you're looking out for your portfolio. Are you planning on holding it? Or is it short term? So this is another one. This really, really depends on which market you're going into. Are you looking for like a really, really hot market where you're just going to go in, get a ton of appreciation, and then sell it really, really quick, kind of do a flip, because you can do flips with commercial properties as well. Are you going to go to an area that is really, really popular, so tons of people are educated on it, and so you can kind of buy and sell for high because everyone's kind of wanting in that market? Or are you actually looking around the US for a property that you know will appreciate and have good cash flow for the next 10 to 20 years? So what is your plan? This will also align with the growth, the income, and your appreciation and cash flow. What is your plan? And this will define what market you're actually looking into and what asset class you're looking into. So this will also decide what kind of partners you have, what kind of passive investors you have, because this is a different type of plan and a type of individual for which goals that they have. So know this as well. 5, always keep a reserve. So many investors, you might underwrite your capital expenditures, you might, which is basically your rehab. You might underwrite, your interest mortgage for a year or something like that. But a lot of people don't actually underwrite or raise enough to have a reserve. So again, I align this with your market, because markets can go up and down, and it depends on your plan. Are you holding it for long-term or short-term? So you can either go over on CapEx, you can either take longer to fill occupancy, or you can be a market that's completely stable, but you want to hold it for 10 to 20 years, and the market does go up and down. And so to be able to have a successful portfolio, you always want to reserve for that property. And so it doesn't really matter what the market's doing at that time, because over the span of the time that you hold your property, you're going to gain a really high return. But if you don't keep a reserve from those good months to hold over on those bad months, that deal could be very sour and turn very negative very quickly. And it's not actually a bad deal. It's just market, it does that, it moves and fluctuates. And so I suggest this even with a short-term deal, because like I said, if you're flipping the property and if numbers don't make sense, or like a lot of people experience, they were a mid-rehab or mid-development, and lumber went up like 10 times its initial cost. So ask yourself, is that going to affect your bottom dollar for your capital expenditures, and your rehab? Yes, massively. That could have broken so many people's deals. Well, was it the market? Was it the income? Absolutely not. It was none of these things. So, but if they had a reserve, that could have really helped in those situations. And a lot of people do have reserves. And so they just kind of sat it out, and they either shifted gears or they just kind of waited until, the 7 months or whatever that it took for lumber to kind of get back to a number that they could keep moving forward with. So this is massively important that I think not many people talk about. And I also want to just say that it doesn't matter what market you are in. It does not matter what market you are in. If you do not know your numbers and you're not comfortable with your underwriting the CapEx, that's basically making sure that you're getting bids and everything from all the contractors and vendors. If you don't know your numbers and you're not comfortable with them, you could be in an amazing market and still lose. So I feel that there's so much emphasis on where's the real estate market? Where's the real estate market? So for me, these 6 things are what going to make a market happen for you. So if you align these 6 things, I think that your deal will be very successful and you will ride any wave. So basically, you're knowing the geographic area. You're aligning yourself with investors and partners and deals that fit your guys' goals. You're planning for the future, and you are taking the initial work and really being confident in your numbers and your underwriting and your bids and quotes and everything to aligning it appropriately. So know the best real estate market is the one that fits your real estate goals, that fits your capabilities and your partners and your investors' abilities, and the one that you always plan for the worst and hope for the best. That is the best real estate market for today. Again, subscribe below. Love to keep helping you guys out. Comment, send me any questions or anything that you guys have. I'm definitely here to answer anything you guys are going through, so stay tuned for my next video.